This is why ads feel so empty right now. The average American sees over 5,000 ads a day. That number is extremely high, and without us realizing it, we have been trained, conditioned, and brainwashed by the ad industry. Advertising has been running on autopilot for decades. You probably have noticed it. The same messages, same slogans, same jingles, over and over again. And what do? We accept them as part of daily life because our brains have developed what Howard Gossage called thicker skins. Thick enough that no amount of shouting, flashing, or limited time offer nonsense seems to break through anymore. And that, my friends, is why almost every ad you see is completely invisible. Your brain learned to filter it out because ads stopped being interesting. We're going to talk about what Mr. Luck's philosophy was and how he broke the pattern and he engaged with people. Decades ago, Mr. Luck figured out why this was happening, and even more importantly, how to fix it. He was, in his own words, the anti-advertising ad man. He hated the traditional model of advertising. He hated shouting at people. He believed ads should be optional and that engagement was far more important than reach. Radical concept, right? Like, hey, let's not keep annoying you. No, let's make them want to watch it. Let's make them beg for more. Let's make them seek us out. Mr. Luck worked on a campaign for Fina gas. Gasoline could be considered a very boring commodity and kind of hard to market. Mr. Luck, well, he wrote a conversational human ad that said, if you're driving down the road and you need gas, maybe stop in. No hard sell, no pushing you one way or the other. It was just an honest ad. And in that simplicity, it became memorable because it treated us like adults with a choice and it invited participation in the commodity, first thing trying to convince us why we needed it. And that wasn't a one-off. In another campaign, he promoted something called pink air. It was actually what it sounds like, air tinted pink. It didn't actually have a purpose. It was just a playful, pointless object that made people stop and go, wait, what? The whole point wasn't the air. You weren't being interrupted. You were being invited into something strange and kind of funny. And suddenly a boring gas brand wasn't invisible anymore. It was interesting. That's the thing with Gossage. Whether it was a single honest sentence or something ridiculous like pink air, he wasn't trying to overpower your brain with repetition. He was trying to wake it up. He understood that attention doesn't come from explaining harder or shouting louder, and that it comes from breaking expectations and treating people like they actually have a choice. Let's compare that today though. The ads that you see online, massive brands rely on repetition over creativity. It's just, let's take our big budget and just pound it over people's heads. Take, for example, McDonald's. Commercials often follow the same exact formula. Big close-ups of the burger, a slow-motion, juicy bite, a slogan repeated across TV, YouTube, and social media. It works for the most part because they hit you with it so hard that there's going to be one moment out of all those ads that you're starving and that burger just looks good enough for you to go buy one. We've gotten used to it, and we just usually tune it out. Even something like Apple's product launches can fall into this trap, ironically. Everyone waits for the same demo of a phone. Millions watch, sure, but most of the engagement is passive. People are absorbing it like background noise. They're trained to expect it. Compare that to Gossage's Fina gas ad. One simple sentence that sparks thought. Gossage didn't just stop at making boring products human. He had this brilliant way of turning the mundane into participation. Take this famous campaign for Qantas, an airline company. Instead of just listing plane schedules, he launched a contest where people got to name an actual airplane. This contest had a prize of a live kangaroo. Can you believe that? Honestly, I don't know if the winner actually got a kangaroo, but because it was so unique, people weren't just reading the ad, they were actively involved. And how cool to have named an airplane and get a free kangaroo. And you could name their kangaroo whatever you named the airplane. Like if you named the airplane Steve and you won, I would have named the kangaroo Steve. But, I mean, if you would have named your airplane White Lightning, Metallica would come after you. What would you name your airplane? What would you name your kangaroo? Would it be the same? Put it in the comments. I want to hear what people would name their airplane. Today, some companies are starting to get it right. You see these young startups and how they're breaking the noise on social media and on the internet like liquid death.
Liquid death, mountain water.
Made from the deadliest stuff on earth.
And Dr. Squatch by creating really fun, creative ads.
They're still using whatever bar their mommy bought for her little man.
People can't stop watching and they want more of. Let's look at another example, Red Bull, for example. They don't advertise the drink in the traditional sense. Instead, they sponsor extreme sports events and content that people actually choose to watch. Nobody's forcing you to watch someone jump from space, but millions do anyway. That's earned attention. So when you're scrolling and you skip an ad without even realizing it, that's not you being impatient, that's training. Ads trained you to expect nothing interesting. And that's really what Howard Gossage was calling out. Advertising didn't fail because people hate ads. It fails because it stops being creative. You cannot forget the most important thing in advertising: creativity. Mr. Luck's whole thing was simple. If someone doesn't choose to engage with your ad, it's already lost. Attention isn't something you take, it's something you earn. And you don't earn it by repeating yourself harder. You earn it by being interesting, surprising, or at the very least honest. And that's why his work still feels relevant. So next time you see an ad you don't skip, that's not an accident. That's someone actually understanding how attention works. And if you're building a brand, making content, or marketing anything right now, that's probably the takeaway. Stop repeating, start creating. All right, see you in the next one. Thanks for following Brave Eggs.